Hi, I'm here today with Nami, King of Korean Dogs. It's an absolute pleasure to see you. Nami's been in the UK for the whole of this week, and she has been travelling around London and also Scotland meeting people. And she's agreed to have this interview with us today so we can really learn a little bit about what goes on in Nami's life back in South Korea and everything that she has to deal with on a daily basis. So Nami, it's lovely to see you again, and I just want to find out, can you tell us how this all started? 5 years ago, this all started. There must have been something that set this off and made you want to start rescuing dogs.
Well, it's more than 5 years ago that I got retired from teaching, and I just walked into this full time. Well, it was in Busan, down south of Korea. There's a dog meat market there, and the dog meat market in Seoul or in Songnam City is a bit too big for me to challenge. So I picked Busan, and there were a lot of activist friends of mine in abroad encouraging me to, the size is something that could be doable and workable. So I landed in Busan 2013. I mean, even before that, I was a volunteer for some shelters here and there. That was about it while I was teaching full time until I really come to full retirement from teaching. You actually see the live dogs on display. The buyers would come along and pick the dogs, and then I want this dog. The dog will be taken into a slaughter house behind, and it just come out as a piece of meat. And I think that really motivated me, and whenever I go around to the villages to really shut down illegal dog meat farms, I select those without livestock license. Dog is classified as livestock at the moment. And I like to mention that there are only two kinds of dogs in Korea, meat dogs and pet dogs, you see. During the process, I worked with activist groups, environmental activist group and animal rights activist group. Worked in several cities down south of Korea then. And I myself have seen how they slaughter dogs, how they hang the dogs, how they beat up the dogs to tenderize the meat. And all these experiences, what I have seen really motivated me. That I lived long enough to give my life to the dogs. And ever since, it's been like 20 hours a day, if not 18 hours a day, for the dogs only. Nothing else in my life is important anymore.
So Nami, what would be a typical day in your life when you wake up in the morning? What do you do?
I worked, this time difference. So I worked like US time and Europe time. And during the day, I work on the dogs, I feed the dogs, and I do everything. When I could easily wake up in the morning because dog barks and they attack one another. At the moment, we have so many traumatized dogs. I can't even count how many, but they're mostly so traumatized. They tremble. There are two types. One group is totally shut down from this world. And their eyes tell me, save me, you know. They've seen the worst of everything, the horrors, you know. And another type is this particular group will just attack one another and kill one another. The dogs, they got lots of anger inside. Well, they just don't know how to control.
I mean, on your website you have a list of very traumatized dogs, and in the description it says that they were in pens in these factories, in these meat farms, very, very close to the area that they were slaughtering the animals, and these are puppies, so very impressionable, probably not being handled as well, which doesn't help their socialization. These puppies are incredibly traumatized and have withdrawn from the world, or shaking like you describe. What sort of things would these puppies have seen every single day being in the cages right by the killing area?
Well, all these years I have seen only one butcher electrocuting a dog. Other than that, they want to save the electricity. They don't use them. But they would hang the dogs.
Hang them?
Hang them.
So this is still very much happening.
And before the last breath, they can cut the belly. And then I've seen one case, they take out what's inside the organs and they feed other dogs with what's taken out from them. So you can just imagine. You know, they've seen the worst of everything. They've heard the screams. Well, last year we took on a very big project, 300 dogs meat farm. And the slaughter scene was more or less in the center. I'm sure the dogs here have heard, you know, once a dog is taken and then it never come out again live. But, you know, they smell the meat and the blood and everything. I think, well, I understand because I've seen it myself. I'm traumatized myself. So we're in the same boat. But, well, there's the group of dogs that show some good signs of progress, but most of the dogs, I don't see any hope in them.
So at the moment you have lots of dogs and you really need help, don't you? You need some people, perhaps some behaviourists, that might be able to come out and look at these dogs with you, because we're both compassionate people, and compassionate people do whatever they can to help an animal.
I'm very lucky that I met up with two trainers. On the day of gala, my first day, and they offer to come and work on the dogs. And at the moment, we have two dogs with a trainer in US. She's working on the dogs. These two dogs attacked and killed two others. And one was badly injured with 25 stitches. You can never imagine, you look at their face, they look like just normal dogs, but they can attack and bite. I've got bites all over my legs.
They're traumatized, aren't they? And crushed in these crates together when they were at the meat farms. I can imagine if meat farmers don't care about the dogs, that all they want to do is to kill them for food, they're not going to care if they're fighting in cages together. And also feeding the bodies back to the dogs, that's only going to encourage them more harm, I think, to each other. There are many, many dog farms in South Korea. I know there's probably thousands, isn't there? There's
No,
large
17,000.
17,000. That's a lot of dog meat farms.
From small and big.
And some of them are very, very big. I've got a huge amount of dogs. And some farms, the dogs, you can see that they're in partial darkness. Others are out in the elements, living on wire, in the cold, in the heat, depending on the time of year. You have shut down several of these farms. Can you tell us how you managed to do this?
Well, my strategy is always I pick those without livestock license, and then I would charge them. I bring them to the authority, and I charge them under this violation, that violation. They're all put together, and normally the total amount of fine become quite big. So my strategy: would you rather pay this heavy fine or surrender the dogs to me and shut down? Okay, I would drop the charges, you know. And this used to be the case. And from small, like from a meat farm, small scale, 14 dogs to 300 dogs. Well, I would say that, I closed down really. I shut down quite a number for that 5 years. Now, this is one dog that I had to go out at night and steal. I steal dogs. I used to steal a lot of dogs. I hire a truck. I can never talk about it. I can never post about it. And I've been charged under theft, stealing someone else's personal property. Well, during the process, I learned how to get away from it. But this is Sparky, one of the dogs that I just could not leave him there anymore because he's been haunting me for a long time from the day I saw
Were
the
these
eye.
were these at the dog meat farms then?
Then the thing is, when I know that this dog will be taken to the slaughter place in a week or next week, the whole process, the authority, the red tapes take 3 months to 6 months.
And the dog will be dead, wouldn't it?
This dog will be dead by then, so I know the choice, but yes,
Well, do you know what? I don't blame you one bit, and I don't mind saying it, and I'm sure the people out there watching right now won't blame you one little bit. As I said before, you're a very compassionate person, and that your supporters are highly compassionate people. And to know that an animal is going to die, I think most people watching this today would agree that they probably would do the same thing. Otherwise it would haunt your soul forever, thinking that you could have done something and you didn't, would play on your soul. But that brings me back to another question. How do you feel every day? Because we watch images and we watch videos on the internet about horrific things happening out in South Korea. We don't see it firsthand, we only watch it on the internet. And the images are so deeply upsetting and traumatizing. What must it feel like every day to actually see this? How do you feel?
Well, I must admit that I'm quite used to it now. It's nothing new to me anymore, but daily struggle with those badly traumatized dogs. And when the dogs get sick, well, they come with all kinds of health issues. And until they are medically cleared, they are under special care. And we know we are very small, little tiny group on front lines. And I myself gets really motivated by the dogs. And I am with the dogs every day. And those who have come and stayed with us and spent some time with us, they know what I go through every day. Those who have walked in my shoes understand what it is like daily.
So, talking about dogs being livestock, is there any chance that they can be taken, declassified as livestock? Would that improve their situation in Korea if that could be taken away?
Oh, we have some positive signs coming up with the election, 9th of May. Moon is basically an animal lover. He's the very first presidential candidate who came up with animal welfare policy. Now, he did not mention specifically about dog meat trade, but as far as I know, he mentioned about alternatives. And I believe, he's not going to let that happen during his office. And Congressman Pyo is the chairman of the Animal Welfare Committee at the National Assembly. And Congressman Pyo is handpicked by Moon. And I place high hope in these two men. They're going to make it happen. And I'll be part of this. I like to see this dog meat trade end in this very life. And we have 5 years to go. It is quite certain now that Moon is going to make it.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so excited about it. Wouldn't that be amazing? And also the fact is, which, people need to understand, the younger generations, they don't want this, do they? It's the eating of the dog, do you feel is an older generation thing?
1 out of 4 or 5 Korean household, they keep pets. Well, still, the pet dog and meat dogs, they would rather go for chicken and beer than dog meats. It's only the older generation. I just cannot sit there and wait until all these old men be dead. That's why.
This is what I always say. I think it's going to die out at some point, but we need to give it a little bit of a push to get it to hurry up a little bit quicker.
And as a Korean myself, I really feel so shameful when I travel and when I meet people, they know that I rescue dog, they always ask me, the first question is, hey, do Koreans still eat dog meat? How shameful it is. This got to end in that 5 years and in this very life. Just like Taiwan, even if the law says no, it will go underground.
Yes.
But as long as the law is there, the consumption is going to really drop. And, well, you don't just go and tell them, you stop it or you quit. But, well, I'm hoping the government will come out with some good package of alternatives for them to do something else. Yeah.
That sounds really, really hopeful. So when you get back home, are you going to be on the campaign trail? Are you going to be pushing all of this?
Well, I'm with the dogs all the time, but I play the role of behind supporter. I do what I can. I've been mobilizing all my contacts and connections when the other candidate was chasing very close. Moon. That was the time that then I stopped panicking and then I was getting so nervous, but I think Moon became the first page of Time magazine, and I think we are in the safe zone right now.
I think
he's going to make it.
I think it's amazing. So everybody there in South Korea, vote Moon. And I'll translate this into South Korean so everyone can read this. And we have Nami here from Save Korean Dogs. Please go on her website. Nami's got a Facebook page. They're on Twitter. They have their normal website. She needs loads and loads of help. She needs loads and loads of support. She's got hundreds of dogs. If you're a behaviourist out there and you're watching this and you think you might be able to help, lend some support, get in touch with Nami. I'm sure she could use people going over there, having a look at the dogs, seeing if there's any way that any of them could be helped. And of course, there are some which are being homed. I know that a lot of your dogs go to America and Canada, but also some are going to the UK now as well, which is amazing, isn't it? Which we heard.
I flew in together with Jane, our very first dog, to UK. And I have 40 more dogs to come in June. And so far, I rehomed about 1,100 dogs to UK and Canada.
That's amazing. That's a huge amount. But, please send donations. She's got so many dogs that she needs to feed, vet care. Can you imagine the cost of your dog in your own home? How expensive it is just to keep one dog. You've got 300? Is that right?
200. Now getting less and less.
Getting less and less. Well, we want that to drop even more. So we want behaviourists out there helping the remaining dogs. She needs to look after them. And of course, she's going to be rescuing more. So this is going to be carrying on until the dog meat industry comes to an end. Nami, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here. It's been wonderful meeting you, following your story, and I wish you only the best of luck, and I'm going to stay in touch with you. And maybe at some point I'd love to come over and meet your dogs, and perhaps when you have some behaviourists come over, that would be an interesting thing to see, whether you might be able to work with some of your dogs.
Well, I'm still very overwhelmed by the warm welcome and hospitality extended to me during my 1 week stay in London and 1 day in Glasgow. The gala dinner raised some funds for me, and I have 2 trainers coming over to Korea soon, and we have this lovely group of warriors, Korean Dogs to the UK group, and I do have so many dedicated supporters behind me. I think that's what make me go on and on. Yes.
That's wonderful. You're welcome. Thank you so much, Nami. I really appreciate it, and good luck with everything.
Thanks.
Right. I'm here with Madeleine Warren, who is the UK campaign specialist out in South Korea. And I believe, Madeleine, you've been out for the last few years helping around the Botnell Festival time, raising awareness and getting out there on the streets. Tell us exactly what you've been up to over the last couple of years out there.
Well, I first went out because Nami put a call out for Westerners to go out in 2015 to campaign outside the main government buildings, the National Assembly. She thought that it would be a good idea to get the attention of people, a lot of Westerners standing out there and campaigning against the dog meat trade. And actually, she was correct, it did work very well. We got the attention of media and politicians and the public as well. They were very intrigued about why we were there.
Fantastic. And you'll be going out again this year?
Yes, this will be my 3rd year out there. Last year we did really, really well. We got about 17 media coverage. There was major newspapers and on the TV news as well. It was great. We're hoping to get the same coverage again this year and get more attention.
Fantastic. So if some people out there would be looking to come out and volunteer, could you sort of run through what exactly you do and what they would be expecting when they come out? Because of course it is quite difficult. It's quite a bit of a hard slog. There's nothing glamorous about it. It really is just getting out there and helping the dogs. So we want the sort of truth. What would they have to go through when they go out?
Yeah, it can be boring. I mean, you stand there for a long time, hours and hours at a time under the hot sun, the midday sun, with placards. Nothing perhaps nothing can happen for days on end, and then all of a sudden you get lots of attention. So then you've got to be so you're physically fit, and then you've also got to be very, very respectful to Koreans. You know, you've got to love Korea, and I do anyway. And then be willing to answer the same questions over and over again. You know, is this culture? Why are you insulting our culture? Why do you think you have the right to come over here? And questions like that. Just be able to answer that respectfully.
So even though you might be like a token European over there, I think it's important to bring up the fact that there are so many South Koreans out there fighting so very, very hard now, aren't they, to bring this to an end. So it's not just us going over there, but you're joining forces, aren't you, with the sort of almost like an uprising, isn't it, in South Korea? So that's very strong. I think it's very important to talk about how many of the younger generation do not want it from within South Korea.
Absolutely. I say that we are going over there to support the Koreans that do not want this. They have a difficult culture that they cannot undermine or disrespect their elders and their social superiors. But they don't mind if we say something. So we're going over there to support them and to help let them know that there's a lot of people out there that want to help make their country look better.
Okay, so if there's some people in England would like to help, either in Scotland or England, what do they need to do? How can they contact you, Madeleine, and get involved?
They can contact me on Facebook. It's Madeleine Warren. And we can go through what they need to know. You know, if you need to book your time off work, this is always a problem. You need to have enough money to go over there. You can still do it fairly cheaply, but I can guide you through how much it costs, what's expected of you, and what do you expect when you're out there.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you and Nami and everybody else within the whole organisation are doing a fantastic job. Certainly Nami's visit here this week has been wonderful, and you know she's got so much out of it. It's been so much support, and you guys have been amazing, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And I know that everybody out there watching this is going to send you all the support and love that you need. So thanks so very much.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.